Season 14 of King of the Hill was excellent. I finished watching like all 10 episodes and then I just rewatched them. I let them play in the background because there were just a lot of really pleasant moments. Also, a lot of dark moments. Like, ooh, God, cringe. I know it's done for horror, but if you didn't think it was funny, it would just be depressing as hell. And that's why it had to be animated. Like King of the Hill is done with just regular people, so if this was done in live action, I don't think the humor would, transfer that well. No, I think people could only see the absolute horror and misery of it. But instead, I can be a psycho, kind of like people who oh, what's his name? Chuck Palahniuk? Yeah. If you've read those books or seen those plays, dark but funny. Yeah, yeah, that is what King of the Hill is all about. But there were a lot of sweet moments. Yes, everything needs a right marker of heartwarming, funny, and actiony, blah, blah, blah. But I can say King of the Hill was very funny and very thoughtful, and I appreciate that. Hank continues to be ridiculously conservative, but also a wholesome family man. And yeah, he balances it, but he gets upset for the silliest and most ridiculous things, so you can still laugh at him. Let's see, highlights for him were Saudi Arabia by accident or just by, being away from his friend's influence and having a slightly more open mind. Hank fell in love with soccer. He enjoyed going to a friend's kid's soccer game and then becoming the ref because he, respects the order of it. And it's funny because Peggy is somehow turned on by this, thinking that Hank is rebelling. And while she's turned on, Dale, even though he doesn't officially know Hank is doing it, he kind of hears Hank mention it and he's like, Hank would sooner become a spy against America than like soccer. So he stakes out against him, and at one point, Hank is tied up in a basement and there's truth serum. Dale Gribble, you scare me, but please never change. Also, Bill has not changed. I think he's just gotten worse. Yeah, the episode you pay attention with him about was where he apparently made friends with, the people of a black barber shop. Yeah, because he was a barber, and he has lied to them greatly about his life. Basically, he told them that he is Hank, with Peggy and a son named Bobby, and he learned Photoshop, so God help us. And it horrified Hank. Hank did not tell, like the nice barbers. And yeah, the barbers were nice. They were welcoming. They were pitying. One dude a little too much. He drops $1 at his shoe. And he's like, there you go, Hank. Don't be proud. Oh, God. And what's so sick is that Hank tells Peggy about Bill's sick fantasy and lie to these nice strangers. And Peggy at first is flattered and enthusiastic. And for 2 minutes, she's gushing with Bill about other lies he can tell them. But it does not last because Bill is sad and disgusting and Peggy just cannot stomach it. She just cannot. I love the part where she's like, in this lie today. And a Peggy focus episode was really cute. Peggy is disappointed that everyone's just addicted to their phones, even though, as she complains about that, Hank walks in and is like, oh, you're still looking at your phone. Yeah. Peggy does the cutest thing where she makes a book nook. Those little mystery libraries that are in neighborhoods. I love those personally. I love stopping by and looking in them. And sadly, one of the things that you don't get in the digital world that you get in the real world is bed bugs. And skipping over the convoluted plot that came after that, it all ends up with the neighbors just having a book burning to kill the bed bugs. Dramatic. God, the fire was scary, especially when it's books. It was scary. Why not just toss them out, throw them away? Was the fire to scare all other insects and bed bugs away? Why? Why? Did they just want to burn something? That seems wrong. And the part where somebody else gets video on them and you see on a Reddit page where people are like, damn Texans, they need to be sterilized for their stupid book burning ways. There's one woman in Texas who still appreciates literature. One, and that's Peggy Hill. Bobby's plot, like the first few episodes were about his chef life not being too balanced, and the next ones, it's about his love life. He meets this strange, interesting, sweet, extreme girl named Willow. Yeah, she's collecting his, dumped fats, like Bobby glasses and jars, the fats from his restaurant, and she reveals that she uses them to make candles or something. And they hit it off. It's cute. Willow is super woke, and I can see how that would, grate some people, but she's also really respectful and sweet. And yeah, she was an interesting character. Even if she and Bobby aren't, meant to be, I hope she comes back. There was that one part where Bobby brings her, to meet his parents and have dinner with them. And Peggy is like, Hank, just because her ways are different than us doesn't mean we should judge. He's like, no, I want the lasagna that was assigned meat at birth. So bad. Oh, and Willow calls him Hank, and then he's like, you're welcome to call me Mr. Hill. And she's like, got it, Mr. Hill. And yeah, she really pokes Hank's buttons, but then he respects her for being good at football, and then things happen that, no, Hank might never be in the same room as that woman again. But I want her to come back. I really do. At one point, Bobby also brings her to a funeral, and she's like, I love the pageantry of funerals. It does sound callous, but I know exactly what she means. I feel that way about funerals, too. And it doesn't work out with Willow, but even throughout the whole thing, Bobby still has feelings for Connie. Yes, adult Connie is back, and her first few episodes, yeah, Bobby is still smitten with her. And Connie has become an interesting adult. She's not the shy kid she was. She's still smart, but now she's way more outspoken and more snarky, while still being a classy lady. She's dating Chang Wasama-san, the spoiled, partner at Bobby's restaurant. Yeah, he's a douche, but he's got a nice body, so I get Connie's reasoning. They're in an open relationship, and yeah, I have friends that do that, and mixed results depending on the person. Sometimes it just works when you're into somebody who has a job that involves a lot of traveling. And yeah, sometimes it's just, not being totally exclusive. It works for some people. It did not work in this situation because Chang is a jerk, but I don't think Connie was terrible for trying it out. Bobby was horrified of it, but I think that was just jealousy. So yeah, Connie, honestly, it's an episode shared with the other Supernosimpos, her parents. They changed Khan's voice. I will say it's not as striking as it was, and I almost missed that, but in the same way that I missed Dale's voice. I get why they did it. I do. What's the point of having people of color on screen and then being voiced by white people? It's yeah, voices are special where almost anyone can do them if you just play it right, but it's unfair that people of color aren't allowed to have any roles. Even if it was a person of color that played a white person on TV, I think that would at least balance it out better. Anyway. So, the Supernosimpos, Min and Khan apparently got divorced. Aw, don't tell anyone. And they have this big lying anniversary party, and they're pressuring Connie and her jerk boyfriend to get married, and Jane's taking all the credit for Bobby's catering, and Connie just hates all of it. She just hates all of it. So skip to the part where she and Bobby decide to go on dates, and they're like, wait, no, we don't like the same things we did as 13. We didn't really talk too much about our lives. Not deeply. I mean, Bobby knows what kind of science-y degree she's into right now, and she knows that he's a chef. But we didn't really get to know Connie, as a person, what she really wants to do and such. It was mostly just seeing her as the old love interest that came back, and seeing her as a young woman who is aggravated by her parents. So, if there is another season, I want there to be an episode more focused on Connie, not just the Supernosimpos. What is Connie doing during the day when Bobby doesn't see her? That is a question I have. I don't have that question for Joseph Gribble. And honestly, I don't get why people aren't letting him, hit on the old aunties. Let him get a sugar mama. Let him move out, Bobby. You can do well on your own, I think. I think he can if he tried. And yeah, again, Bobby Hill became a very graceful adult. I'm so proud of him. I do I was a little perturbed about this aspect where, yes, it shows that people judge men on, being tubby, not having a certain body type that is totally attractive for TV, and that made Bobby a little discouraged to like try to advertise and get on this cooking show. In the same token, all of the women had to have these super cinched waist and their like clothes really like clung to that and like every little aspect of it. And it's like, okay, yeah, there's a double standard. Other things that disappointed me. No Luann. At all. Not even mentioned. Damn it. Part of me worried that this was kind of like when the Animaniacs were rebooted and they took out Hello Nurse. Ugh. You know, there's something about it's gross to objectify women and then it's gross to completely erase it and pretend it never happened. Like, if you wanted to do good for Hello Nurse, give her more story, give her more talking time, give her more action time to do whatever it is she wanted to do. Luann probably would not be the smartest bulb just because, it's 2025. I don't need her to be. I still think she was an interesting person figuring it out. Honestly, I always thought she had average intelligence and they just let her be silly. But yeah, whatever Luann's doing now, I would be curious to see. So many amazing voice actresses in the world that could play her. Like, R.I.P. Brittany Murphy, but they found a replacement for the other people. They could find a replacement for her because I miss Luann. I know she had a family, that's fine, but I particularly miss Luann. Also, I'm disappointed that the show didn't comment at all on Trump. I'm so disappointed. They commented on Obama, which I guess the last time the Hills, were in the States, Obama was voting, and apparently there's a little moment where Peggy reveals, Hank, you did that thing where you moved your glasses when you lie. It was cute when you told our black neighbor you voted for Obama, but it's not cute in this particular context. Not 100% surprised, I should say, but no, mostly I'm annoyed with the lack of Trump mentioning or any, not even like a name drop, but any sort of allegations or anything. I guess that the people are playing it safe, but maybe by next year they'll do something different because yay, the show is getting a 15th season. We're going to get more of this. And I am happy with that. I am. Yes, I'm very sick of sequels and a lot of other mainstream animation. I am. But I don't know, there's something different about a TV show, building up characters and plots and just going through all of these different plots and ideas that a story can make instead of big budget, hour-long specials that are supposed to hit you so hard every time. There's just more play with a TV formula, an episodic kind of formula. Because this isn't a TV show anymore, it's a streaming show. And I'm proud that there wasn't an episode where Bobby had to teach his parents how to use, the different remotes to the TV. To imagine that the Hills are already fine with that is cool. I thought it was cute that Hank is watching, the sequel of a, priest action show in his world. He's watching that, and he put the subtitles on. Because he needs the subtitles. He appreciates them. And then Peggy comes in and is like, oh, that's embarrassing. Those subtitles are wrong. If it wasn't animated, it would not be as funny. But King of the Hill, creators behind King of the Hill, these writers, thank you. Thank you very, very much. You did a great job. I am so happy that this existed. I really am. It made me feel my age. It made me feel younger and older all at the same time, and that's special. Do I think the show is for anyone? I think anyone with a dark sense of humor, a really, good grasp of irony can really appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah, it's for people with this really witty, dry sense of humor, in my opinion. But I do love when there's animation with adults. So many other animated features have to be about kids and teenagers, and I get so bored of that. I'm not a teenager anymore, so even though I love animation, I don't want to watch teenage problems. So, yeah, that's another reason I really appreciated this reboot. I'm looking forward to season 15. I don't know how long that will take, but it was worth the wait.